Welcome to the Freelance Insider Podcast, the podcast where we take a close look under the hood of the freelance world. I'm your host, Al Calder, a freelance writer and audiobook narrator. I'm here to help you with your freelance journey. Whether you're just starting out or looking to ramp up your freelance game, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Freelance Insider Show. Today we're going deep onto something that's really important to freelancers like you and me, building a killer personal brand. You know, it's funny, as I connect with other freelancers these days, I notice they all agree on one big thing. Personal branding is no longer just a nice to have. It's essential. According to a recent Forbes article, we can anticipate that almost 70% of Gen Z professionals will be jumping in and freelancing in the next year or two. That's a huge pool of competition. And that's where a strong personal brand comes in. I've always thought about personal branding as like building your professional reputation. It's your reputation, but it's also about being strategic with how you present yourself in your work. So how do you actually do that? Where do we even begin? Well, it starts with you, like really looking inward, a journey of self-discovery. Kind of a hard look at yourself. You've got to be clear on what you're good at, what makes you excited, what makes you, you. And what are your values when it comes to work? I remember when I started freelancing, I just took any project that came along. I thought I could be everything to everyone. Now I realize now that was a mistake. You can't be everything to everyone. A lot of freelancers fall into this trap though, trying to be a jack of all trades. Oh, and that brings me to my next point, niching down. It means specializing. Instead of just being a graphic designer, you're a website designer for eco-friendly businesses. Or you're a branding expert for, female entrepreneurs. Whatever your thing is, you're focusing on that one special thing. Does that make it harder to find clients? Actually, it kind of makes it easier because you become the go-to person for that specific thing. You're not competing with everyone. You're standing out. So instead of trying to appeal to everyone, you're trying to attract the right clients, the people who really need your services, the ones who are specifically looking for what you offer. And speaking of attracting the right clients, there's another piece to this, understanding your target audience, your ideal client. What is your ideal client? Well, we have to be detectives. We have to investigate our ideal clients. What are their pain points, their dreams? What are their goals? And how can we help them achieve those goals? Okay, so we've looked inward, figured out our niche, and gotten to know our ideal client. How do we put this all together into a personal brand? Well, a good place to start is with a brand statement. Here's a good formula. Finish the following sentence. I help, insert your target audience, achieve, insert their desired outcome, by insert your unique approach. A simple but effective formula. And once you have that statement, you can start to think about the visuals too, like the color palette, the website design. This isn't just for your business online, it's for real life too. It's both. It's everything you do online and offline. So if your brand is all about being creative and innovative, that should come through not just on your own website, but also in how you talk to people at networking events. You got to be consistent. Consistency is key. But what about when we want to try new things and be adaptable? You also want to be authentic. How do we balance being strategic with our brand and also being authentic in ourselves? Well, think about your core values, the things that are important to you in your life and your work. If one of my core values is transparency, then you should be transparent with your clients. And if creativity is a core value, then your brand should be creative. Bottom line, your values should be reflected in your brand. Our values are like a compass. They guide us. Our brand. Our brand is so much more than just visual stuff. It's not just about a cool logo and a pretty website. Those things are important, but it's also bringing your personality into it, your unique personality. It's so important to find your signature thing, the thing that makes you stand out. It could be your writing style, the way you approach problems, or even your sense of humor. It's that special something that makes you, you. Okay, but how do you figure out what your signature thing is? Well, ask yourself, what do you do that nobody else does? What makes me different? What makes you different from everyone else in your niche? And it doesn't have to be something huge. It's about being authentic more than it's about being revolutionary. You need to embrace what makes you unique. Now, how do you use that in your brand? Think of it like a golden thread that runs through everything you do. Your website, your social media, emails, even how you talk to clients. So be consistent with that signature thing. But what about when you're trying something new or you just need to adapt? Well, there's got to be a balance between being strategic and being authentic, because your brand should reflect who you are, but it also needs to work for your business. So how do we find that balance? Think about your core values, the things that are most important to you. So like if you value transparency, then you should be transparent with your clients. And if you're all about creativity, then your brand should be creative. Your values should guide your brand. They're like your compass. So we talked about signature things and our values and bringing our personality into our brand. What else can we do to make our brand stand out? Storytelling is a great tool in your arsenal. Stories are so powerful. But how do you use them in personal branding? Instead of just listing your skills, tell stories. Stories about your journey, your passions, why you do what you do. Be relatable. Show the human side of your brand. Share anecdotes about projects. Talk about challenges you've faced and what you learned along the way. And don't be afraid to share your struggles too. It makes you more relatable. People connect with stories, much more than they do a list of skills. Storytelling is key. Well, what else can we do to build those connections with our audience? Visuals are huge. We have talked about being consistent with visuals. But now think about the emotions that your visuals evoke, the story they tell. Do they reflect your brand personality? If your brand is joyful and creative, your visuals should be bright and colorful, maybe even a little quirky. Visuals should have like a language. A visual language, and it should be consistent on your website, social media, everything. A visual language, it's like creating a world. We talked about so much already, like finding our niche, telling our story, and creating a visual identity. But before we wrap up, are there any other strategies we can use to really amplify our personal brand? Take it to that next level. Well, one thing that always comes up is collaboration, working with other people. Because when you collaborate with other freelancers or businesses, you're not just promoting your own work, you're also getting access to their audience. And that can really boost your credibility, especially if you're working with someone who's already established. It's like a win-win. And there are so many ways to collaborate. You could do guest blogging or interviews. You could even co-create products or services together. And it's a great way to network and build relationships too. Networking is so important. You can find collaborators at events, but also online, like in Facebook groups, Reddit threads, etc. So we should be actively looking for opportunities to collaborate with people. People whose work you admire, people who inspire you. And don't be afraid to think outside the box with your collaborations. So, collaborations, a must. Are there any other strategies we should be thinking about? There is. Public relations can be really effective. Getting featured in articles and things like that, getting press mentions. I know it sounds kind of intimidating, but it can also be really impactful. Because when you get featured in a publication that your ideal client reads, it instantly boosts your credibility. They're like, oh, they were in that magazine. They must be legit. But how do you get those press mentions? Well, first you got to figure out what publications your target audience reads. Where do they get their information? Then you can pitch them a story idea. So you got to craft a good pitch, a pitch that's relevant to their audience and shows off your expertise. It's not about bragging, it's about providing real value. Showing them that you can help their readers, that you're a thought leader in your industry. And it helps you if you have a strong online presence, like a professional website, active social media, a blog with helpful content. All of that makes you more attractive to those publications. It all ties together. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. So we should enjoy the process. Celebrate your wins and don't be afraid to experiment. Well, that's it for today. Thanks to everyone for listening. And remember, your personal brand is your story. It's your chance to try to show the world what makes you unique and valuable. So go out there, make your mark. You've got this. We'll see you next time on the Freelance Insider Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Freelance Insider Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps more freelancers like you find the show. Got questions or topics you want covered? Reach out to me at remoteofficeworld.com. You can also find the link in the show description. Until next time, keep on freelancing your way to freedom.